Welcome back. I'm your assistant teacher, Maya Gurani. So students, today we will discuss a new chapter of history. The name of the chapter is the Delhi Sultanate. So students, in this we will discuss the 5 dynasties. So before the 12th century, from where this administration was carried out. So it was carried out from the Kaveri Delta before the 12th century. But by the 12th century, means after the 12th centuries, the whole administration was carried out through the Delhi Sultanate. So the people, the rulers who ruled in Delhi and they administrate the whole country. So it is very difficult for being in one place, for being in one state, and you are administrating the whole country. So how these people, they carried out their administration and what are the difficulties they face to run their administration in country. First, we will discuss about the 5 dynasties. The 5 dynasties are So here we have the dynasties who ruled over Delhi and who made the Delhi as their capital. So first it was initiated by the Tomars. The Tomars were the one who initiated and made the Delhi as their capital, and the Anangapala who ruled from 1130 to 1145, and later on the Tomars, they were defeated by the Chamans, known as the Chamanas, and the prominent ruler was the Prithviraj Chauhan III, and he ruled from 1175 to 1192. As we have already discussed in the previous chapter, that in 1191 in the Battle of the Rhine, the Muhammad Ghori who defeated the Prithviraj Chauhan, and in 1192 in the Battle of the Rhine second, the Prithviraj Chauhan got defeated by the Muhammad Ghori, and the whole territory was given by the Muhammad Ghori to Qutbuddin Aibak. So the new dynasties that comes to the existence, the name of the dynasty was the early Turkish rulers, and they were also known as the slave dynasty. It is because as the Qutbuddin Aibak, who was the slave of Muhammad Ghori, and they ruled from 1206 to 1290. Qutbuddin Aibak, who was a slave of Muhammad Ghori, as also known as the Lakhbaks. It is because he was very kind-hearted man. He did a lot of charity. So later on, it was succeeded by Shamsuddin Iltutmish. Iltutmish, who was known as the true Turkish ruler, or we can say Sultan. It is because as the Qutbuddin Aibak, he was the slave of the Muhammad Ghori, but the Iltutmish, he got himself freed from the slave, so he was known as the Sultan now. So the Iltutmish, who had many sons, but all the sons, they were not capable of being on the throne, so he appointed the Razia as a Sultan, because the Razia was the one, he was a daughter of the Iltutmish who was brilliant and has capable of being on the throne. So the Razia, who was a woman, and the nobleman of the court, they opposed the Razia. It is because she was women, and they did not like to obey the Razia, and they played a plot against the Razia and dethroned her in 1240. Then later on, the Ghiyasuddin Balban, he became the Sultan of the Delhi, and Ghiyasuddin Balban, he was a very strong ruler, as he himself called that he was a god. But his successor was not that strong and they were weak. So later on, it was overthrown by the Khilji dynasty. In the Khilji dynasty, the 2 rulers were there. The most prominent ruler, the Jalaluddin Khilji and the Alauddin Khilji. The Jalaluddin Khilji was a very weak ruler, and later on it was succeeded by Alauddin Khilji, who was a very strong ruler, but later on this dynasty also got defeated, and the new dynasty that was introduced, the Tughlaq dynasty. As the Tughlaq dynasty, he ruled over Delhi for 100 years, and the two prominent ruler, the sultans were there, the Ghayasuddin Tughlaq and the Muhammaduddin Tughlaq. The Ghayasuddin Tughlaq, who was a very strong ruler, and he ruled over the most part of the India. And later on he was succeeded by Muhammad Tughlaq, and Khizr Khan was succeeded by Shah Alam, and later on the new dynasties came to the existence. That was the Lodi dynasty, and it was introduced by Behlul Lodi as he defeated the Shah Alam, and after the Behlul Lodi, the Sikandar Lodi came to the throne, and in 1503 he made the introduced the Agra, and later on after the Sikandar Lodi, the Ibrahim Lodi came to the throne, and he came to the throne in 1517, and in 1526 the battle was fought. The name of the battle was the Battle of the Panipat. It was fought between the Ibrahim Lodi or the Babur, and the Babur who defeated the Ibrahim Lodi and laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire. So that's how this we can see the decline of the Delhi Sultanate. So by understanding all the rulers of the Delhi, we can say that it is very difficult for the rulers. It had been very difficult for the rulers to rule over the large part of the India, and from one place, as they made the Delhi as their capital, and they circulated the rule, they circulated the administration from the Delhi itself. And so we can say it was very difficult there was so many dynasties that came to the existence. And now we will discuss that what are the source of knowing all of these dynasties and their administration. So the sources to study about the Delhi Sultanate. What are the sources that tell about the Delhi Sultanate? The sources are, as these sources of two types, the literary source or non-literary source. First, there is the inscriptions. They are found on the old coins, historical monuments, milestones, and the tombstone. Second, the coins. Many of the coins are issued by the Delhi Sultanate, by Delhi Sultan, and such as the Jeetal al the Tanka are the coin that tell about the Delhi Sultan. The third, that is the historical monuments. The historical monuments are also an important source that tell about the Delhi Sultanate, as it tell about the cultural tradition of a people and their area and their empire, and it tells about the socio-economic condition of the people. We get information about the Delhi Sultanate from the history in Persian language, as the Persian language was their official language and was also known as the Tariq in singular, and in plural we can say the Tariq. So the Tariq was written by the learned man. These learned men, they often lived in a high post in the administration. Do you think that the Tariq, the learned man who write this Tariq or Tariq, it is the correct information that we get about the Delhi Sultanate? No, because these Tariq, these learned men, these learned people, they used to live in a cities, and they only write about the Sultan only, in the praise of Sultan only, so that they can get a reward from the Sultan. So we can say that this Tariq does not give a correct information about the Delhi Sultan, but it is also an important source of the Delhi Sultanate. So now let us discuss the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate from garrison town to empire. How the Delhi Sultan, they expanded their empire from a very small town, the garrison town, to the whole country. Let's first discuss what is the garrison town. The garrison town is nothing but an area which was highly fortified and the soldiers were deployed there, and the Sultan itself lived in that area. In the initial time, this is the initial year, the garrison town was the only place where the Sultan used to live. And for goods and services, they were solely dependent on the trade, tribute and even plunder. It is because, what was the reason behind that? The reason was the Hindlers. What was the Hindlers? Hindlers was a city, it was next to the city, next to the garrison town or port that supply it with goods and services. And the Hindler is a area, it is a place where the Sultan did not have the control over this place. So for the goods and services, they used to trade with the hinterlands, tribute, as these people, these tribal people, they used to give tribute to the Sultan or even plunder, or they do by doing the plunder, they used to get the goods and services for their empire. So what was stopping the Sultan from expanding their control? The main reason was, as the Sultan did not have the control over hinterlands, it is because as the main problem was the communication, bad weather, war and the Mongol invasion. First, the communication. As there was no communication between the hinterland or the garrison or between the Sultan. It is because as they are far from each other, as one is in the Bengal or one is in the Sindh. So the second problem was bad weather or the war. It is because of the bad weather, so the Sultan, he couldn't reach the hinterlands, and the war also, because of these both, it stopped the Sultan from the communication. One of the important cause was the Mongol invasion, as there was a frequent invasion of the Mongol in that point of time. So for the Sultan, no option was left but to counter those attacks. So these are the reasons that the Sultan couldn't control the hinterlands.
So how did Delhi Sultanate expanded from garrison town to empire?